Is the world a better place, a safer place after Obama's 8 years in office? The evidence, sadly, says no. How will history judge the national security and foreign policies of President Barack Obama? Well, here's how the president himself summed it up last year.
The goal of any good foreign policy is having a vision and aspirations and ideals, but also recognize the world as it is, where it is, and figuring out how do you tack to the point where things are better than they were before. That doesn't mean perfect, it just means better.
But as President Obama comes to the end of his 2 terms in office, is the world a better place? Is it a safer place? Let's take a look. By any objective, transnational terrorist threats are far greater today than when President Obama took office in 2009. There have been over 90 Islamist-related terror plots aimed at the United States since 9/11, and most of them have occurred on his watch. The Iran nuclear deal can already be deemed a failure, as Iran is now more aggressive than ever. It has escalated its military intervention in Syria and continues to stoke the sectarian divisions in Iraq. Oh, and it is accelerating its ballistic missile program. And unfortunately, the same can be said for North Korea, which is a more dangerous and hostile nuclear power than it was 8 years ago. President Obama promised to reset relations with Russia and sign the New START agreement. The result? Russia continues to modernize nuclear weapons. It seized Crimea and continues to conduct a proxy war in Ukraine and support genocide in Syria. Our relations with China are worse, and we've done nothing to stop its attempts to lay claim to the South China Sea, in defiance of international norms. President Obama clearly feels that getting the Chinese to sign the Paris Agreement on climate change matters more than their island building and test of new ballistic missiles in that region. And closer to home, there is little evidence that Obama's normalizing of relations with Cuba have done anything but strengthen the Castro regime. Violent beatings against pro-democracy activists have escalated, and the number of political dissidents being detained is on schedule to break previous records. But perhaps one of the most concerning outcomes of Obama's policies is that the state of our military has deteriorated, primarily as a result of inadequate funding, leading to a shrinking force that possesses aging equipment and modest levels of readiness for combat. The Heritage Military Index now grades the state of the U.S. military as marginal, not exactly a term that puts fear in the hearts of those who might seek to challenge us. So, is the world a better place, a safer place after Obama's 8 years in office? The evidence, sadly, says no.